All right, in this video, I'm going to kind of back up a little bit and review some of the basics of graphing equations in two variables. So just a couple things. If we're trying to graph an equation that has two variables in it, like the y equals x squared minus 4, first thing you need to know is that something like that, an ordered pair that has an x and a y, is a solution to that. This xy with parentheses around it like that, that's an ordered pair. And the ordered word means that the x comes first and the y comes second, right? And there are going to be infinitely many ordered pairs will satisfy the equation in two variables. Okay, so infinitely many ordered pairs are going to satisfy that equation in two variables. Okay. And these are what we would call, these are the solutions. Okay. All right, now the thing is that you can't just list them. There's too many, there's infinitely many. So graphing an equation in two variables is just showing where all the solutions are. Okay. So before, when we had something like 2x plus 5 equal 13, we could just solve. You know, there was just going to be, in this case, one solution. We could list it. That was going to be our answer. Okay. But if we had an equation in two variables, like at y equals 2x plus 5, well, there's not like an algebraic process you can do to find the solution. Okay. We never ask you to solve that because there's too many solutions. The equivalent thing we ask you to do is we ask you to graph that. And so you're really graphing the solutions. We just don't say that, but you're graphing the solutions to, or graph the solution set of. So you really are solving when you do your graph. It's just that you can't list the solutions, so you show people where they are. So like 0, 5 and 1, 7 are a couple of the solutions. And so graphing an equation in two variables is equivalent to solving, because what you're really doing is showing people that along this line are all the ordered pairs that satisfy that equation in two variables. Okay, so that's the big idea, that the ordered pairs that you find are ordered pairs that satisfy the equation, and that those turn out to be points on the graph of that line. Okay, so now a couple other basics you need to know. All right, you need to think about the coordinate plane for a moment. And if you haven't done this in a while, I just want to go over a little vocab. These are called the axes. Okay, this is the y-axis here. This is the x-axis. All right, and when you label, if you were to label, put a scale on it and label these tick marks, positives go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 on up, 0, and then -1, -2, -3, -4 on down. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on up on the y-axis, and -1, -2, -3. The negatives go down. Okay, so you need to know that. All right, some other things they sometimes refer to are the quadrants. And so this quadrant, our piece of paper, our plane has been cut into four quadrants. This is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. Okay, so these are quadrants. quadrants. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're just using Roman numerals, but they kind of go counterclockwise as you number those. So sometimes you might be asked in which quadrant is a certain point, okay? And then one more thing I want to do on this is I want you to think about plotting a couple points, like 0, -4, maybe -1, 3, and then maybe 3, -1, just a couple of things. All right, so if you plot the point 0, -4, you need to make sure you're thinking about it as an ordered pair. The order the coordinates are in matters. The x is 0, so you don't go left or right. You go down 4. That would be the point 0, 4 right there. I'm going to label that point A. Okay, and then point B, the point -1, 3, see that shows up in the second quadrant. And then point C is over here in the fourth quadrant. See how they have the same numbers, but they turn out to be two different points. The order matters. That's why they're called ordered pairs. Okay. All right, so you want to kind of think about plotting these very carefully if it's been a while since you've done that, to make sure you get them plotted correctly in the coordinate plane. Okay. All right, and then one other kind of basic thing you need to understand is when we were given an equation, like let me go back to this one, y = 2x + 5. You've got to understand how to find the ordered pairs. So to find the ordered pairs, that's another basic concept that you might need to go back and review, and that's in that first homework. Okay, what you do is you pick a value. In this case, I would pick x's, and you plug it in, and then this is like a formula that you're going to use. So I might pick, like let x equal 0. Well, then y would equal 2 times 0 plus 5. So y would equal 5. And then I put the 0 together with the 5 to create that ordered pair. But what about if we let x equal 1? Well, then y would equal 2 times 1 plus 5, which would be 7. And so 1 and 7 go together to make an ordered pair that could then be plotted. So finding the ordered pairs is another component of the process that you might need to review. Okay, and you want to get to where you really don't have to write this, that you can look at the formula when possible and do it without a lot of writing. So the process of graphing doesn't feel so tedious. So like if I let x equal -2, the -2 goes in the formula for x. I work out the algebra and I find out the y that goes with it would be 1, right? And then how many ordered pairs you need really depends on how much you already know about what this equation looks like. And so if you know it's a line, you only need a couple points. But if you didn't know that, then you would pick more ordered pairs until you saw the pattern sort of revealing itself. Okay, so what we would do at this point is come in and plot these 0, 5, 1, 7, -2, -1. And we'd notice the 3 points we found seem to lie on this line right here. And that graph, that equation, this selection of ordered pairs are just different representations of that relation in two variables. Okay. So I'm going to stop this video. This was just stepping back and look at some of the basics of graphing, making sure you remembered about the coordinate plane and how to plot points and things like what the quadrants were. In the next video, we'll focus on graphing lines.